We all know Sega. They have been Nintendo's biggest opponent for over a decade and they have released many sweet things. Sadly, the Dreamcast wasn't really successful, and since Sony then dumped everything with their release of the PS2, Sega was kicked out of the hardware production. Yes, it is so sad, but it was more than a blessing for the gaming world, because since then Sega comes up with games for all the consoles. And so in cooperation with Nintendo, Sega gave us this game. F-Zero is the well-known future racer series from Nintendo, where you're speeding over some hardcore tracks with supersonic speed. I was actually intending to begin with the first game of the series when doing these videos, but this here was seriously scratching my fingers, so you get to see the GameCube version here, F-Zero GX. The first game came out for the Super Nintendo system in 1991 and had that famous wannabe 3D view. In 1998 there was F-Zero X for the N64, which was already very well messing up the crowd. But this here, let's say it this way, I am a real gamer and this here is a real game. The game is fast, the game is hard, the game pushes you into the seat and won't let you go. A few regular details. We have a racing game here, surprise! Well, a science fiction racing game. With highly modern anti-gravity speeders, you're speeding over wacky and curvy road tracks. The heavy thing with that is that most of the time you're going with supersonic speed. Simply said, the game is goddamn fast. I was never playing a faster game, and this here already is pretty close to the limits of human reactivity. That makes the game being goddamn freaking hard and is the challenge in person. But here, we can probably say that gaming is educative. You have a proper curve of learning in this game, and your reactivity gets trained heavily. You should definitely not transfer gaming content to the real streets, but the abilities and reactivity you are getting here are definitely increasing safety on actual roads. When you're bombing along with over 1000 mph over the heaviest shit of courses in F-Zero GX, it enables you to quickly do the right choices in traffic when it's the case of do or die. Quite some modes in the game. Every racing game needs the Grand Prix mode, no question. Where you are going to mess with 29 computer-controlled bitches, and it is not like... What? Not the actual kind of bitches. I am talking about these iron hovercrafts, which are speeding along the tracks like warplanes. There are 3 cups at the beginning. 2 more can get unlocked. One of them is the AX Cup. What does AX mean? Well, this game is called F-Zero GX. Also, there is an arcade version of this F-Zero with the addition AX. I haven't played the original arcade version so far, but I believe the tracks in that cup are the ones which were actually supposed for AX. Or something like it, I don't really care, since I am glad to have the tracks here. The Grand Prix mode is definitely the central unit of the game, since you are gonna spend most of the playing time here. Because 1, you need to master all the cops on hardest level if you want to unlock everything, and 2, you would need to do the same with every single speeder there is. Why so? I'm gonna tell you in a minute. Almost every racing game has a multiplayer mode. This here is no exception. But you've got to admit, it's become a little more simple than you would have liked. A maximum of 4 speeders takes part of a race. If not all 4 are actually people, you can have 1 or 2 bots to take part. Well, that is it. Since there won't be more than 4 opponents, the tracks are seeming a little empty. There's not much of competition. The good thing is that you can adjust many details in the race options, like the number of laps, number of CPU drivers between 0 and 2, handicap, or turning on or off the road depth. Also, it's very nice that you can race on all of the Grand Prix tracks, so there's quite plenty of choice. If you are playing the multiplayer mode with more than 2 players, all of the racing courses are being shown pretty much shit. Everything around the actual tracks is missing and there's only the road and a background. Well, for visualization several different screens at the same time, this kinda seems appropriate, since the developers took care of all the time serving proper 50 or 60 frames a second. The game was perfectly optimized for both modes. Many games are being programmed for 60 Hz, and the conversion to 50 Hz is rather bad. You'll see that when there are constant slowdowns in 50 Hz mode, when it's not properly converted but just 1 frame cut out of every 6 ones. Gladly, it's not the case here, and a perfectly fluid running motion picture is pretty much necessary for handling this goddamn fast game properly. Basically, I record video game image data in 50 Hz, but my actual recording hardware only captures 25 frames. Means the game runs way more fluid than you can actually see here. But either way, the game looks goddamn hot already. The playing modes pretty much explain themselves. The common time attack lets you go hunt for time records on each track, where you will always be alone on the road. The interesting thing is, once you have tried the time attack on one course, you will be enabled to buy a top ghost for this track. Such a ghost is the top time the developers were doing on this track. And these top ghosts are the fucking hardest thing this game has to offer. The time I was doing this video, I could not beat one of these. Though I have to admit, I only tried 2 courses and just missed very few times with these ghosts. Since the time attack mode is not the most interesting thing such a game has to offer. I am rather the fan of hunting down my enemies and make them fly, right down from the road. Practice mode, you're not gonna need any explanation, do you? The replay mode lets you watch saved replays. But I don't think that many players will save many replays, eh? The options are offering the common adjustments for the game. The very awesome thing is that this is one of the few Cube games that offers a widescreen function. A shame that I'm such a douchebag and didn't recognize this before I had already recorded most of the video material you see in this test. So, no widescreen here. But that's not really a problem, since the game isn't any better or worse in any of both modes. The second most important mode after the Grand Prix surely is the story mode. Here you are playing a little story with 9 chapters with the F-Zero star himself, Captain Falcon. Every chapter can be seen as a mission, where you're seeking a certain target on the racing track. Mostly these missions are rather nice and interesting and bring a bit of change into the all-days life of a pro racer. Interesting also is that there was put quite a bunch of work into this game, apart from the actual moments where you're doing some carnage with a controller. So the story mode is being followed by some rendered videos, which are really high quality, considering it being a racing game. Well, the entire story as well as some of the videos are staged a little stupid, but they are rounding off everything very well. The spokesmen in those videos are passable. It's a little annoying that when you have completed one chapter, you have to buy the following one in the shop before you can go on there. Since you are not earning enough cash to buy these, you need to sometimes do a little race in the Grand Prix in between, so that you can afford the chapters. But to be honest, it's not such a big deal really, since it keeps being fun and not annoying to do some other races in between. By finishing these missions, you're unlocking bonuses, and the awesome thing about this game is that you keep getting rewarded for every new success anywhere. Every mission has 3 difficulty levels, and completing every one of those in every mission brings you new parts in the shop to buy. Completing the missions in the hardest level finally brings you, let's say, the very special speeders, just with their pilots for you to buy. But dude, I can tell you, doing the story mode on the extreme level could definitely drive you fucking mad. While some missions are still quickly done on extreme, some chapters are so holy goddamn motherfucking hard to get done that they might cause your room's wall to end up with a big fat hole in it from that controller you have just thrown. But still, you always have such a feeling that tells you not to stop before you have torn that shit up. True story, man. From 10 PM to 5 AM I have gone through that entire story mode in all levels without a bloody break. And yes, I do have a job. I believe at least 5 times I was saying, if the next try won't work, I'm done for today. But dude, I was never done. You really feel the need to show the game who's the boss, but you definitely receive your personal salvation when you have everything done and your shop is full of speeders and speeder parts for your own machines to build. But anyway, if you want a full vehicle fleet, you need to mess with all that shit anyway.
You stole the prize money from us last time. You will pay for that. That's a fine-looking machine you're driving, Falcon. Right then, the first one to that checkpoint over there is the winner. I can't lose in my fire stingray.
In the pilot profiles, you can take a relaxed and close look on the machines and the drivers, which come up with quite interesting little biographies. This way you get to know what a few dumbasses are doing in this racing series, whose right to exist seems to be rather questionable. A few minutes ago I said that you would need to finish a Grand Prix Cup at hardest level with every pilot. Well, you don't have to, but only then you will receive the pilot's personal little gag video. In these videos, the piss is taken out of the respective driver, and it's very funny. When you have unlocked the video for a pilot, you can watch it here in the pilot profiles whenever you want to. Taking a serious look at it, this game is offering a load of really hilarious characters. I mean, oh, watch out, Octopussy! This is supposed to be a robot? I mean, that one is barely going through as one, but seriously, this one? Doesn't he look familiar? Douchebag! Ah, dumb show. Garbage behind the wheel of garbage. But I think everyone will find his preferred character. There are even Andro characters in here. Well, we know you. Guess why his machine is yellow? Fastest person in the galaxy. Not really an animal, but pretty much going in the direction. Is it a doggy? Is it a kitty? Well, you decide. And after all, the game offers quite something for the male gamers, next to the heavy racing action. Tasty. Oh yeah, soul bitch is in the house. Besides, the name Kate is just... Well, I am not really fancy for muscle girls, but that is some serious waist. You can kick Bollywood down the fucking hill, but that sweetie is still hot. Last but seriously not least, let's get to the customizing. Under this point you'll find some of the most delicate elements, which are making the game as awesome as it is. Almost everywhere in the game you can unlock speeder parts when you win. You'll find them here in the garage. Here you can put together your very own machine. You have three main elements, which are body, cockpit and boost. You have many parts for each element and you can combine them without limitations. Down there you can see which assets every element has to offer. Every element can have a different color, and finally you can select a pilot for your machine. Sadly, you can't create an own pilot, but we really couldn't ask for that as well. The awesome thing is that except for the story mode, where you understandably only race with Captain Falcon, you can use your personal machine everywhere in the game. As if there wasn't enough gaming fun already, that increases it even more. The second option under customization is the emblem editor, which finally optimizes all that stuff with own machine and so on. Here you can create an own little graphic, which you can place 4 times anywhere on your machine, even on the underbody if you like. So then you can really talk of a personal machine. Though you might only have a too thick pen to draw and a tiny resolution, but Wayne, It's more anybody could be asking for in such a game. Third option under customization finally is the F-Zero shop, where you get all that stuff I was talking about. Under machine, you can buy all the speeders with pilots, which you have unlocked. They are astoundingly cheap, and so your vehicle fleet grows quite fast. Under custom parts, you will find all the mentioned speeder parts, which your machine will be made of. These parts are cheap as well, but since there are so many of them, you still need to feed your wallet to afford them. Under items, you can get yourself quite a lot of merchandise. Mainly that will be the chapters for the story mode. Also, you need to buy the tracks for the AX Cup before the cup will be unlocked to do races on it. Additionally, here you will get unlocked Top Ghost, which you get from the time attack mode. Additional music tracks will appear here too, and possibly some more knick-knack. So much you can unlock in this game, I can't even be sure that I have seen everything. F-Zero GX isn't only so much fun because you are racing like a madman. Many little elements of the gameplay are so much adding to it. In the first lap, you are just driving along there. You can take the boost signs to accelerate, but you won't have a personal boost. You will get that one from the second lap on, and then you can push the pedal to the metal. The core issue with that one is that every boost comes from your shield energy, so your energy level decreases every time you boost up. So watch out not to randomly end up in suicide mode. On the racetracks, there are charging fields. The number of fields is depending on track. Sometimes there's only one field per course. That brings a bit of strategy into the game, since you need to boost up at the right places and always watch out for keeping enough energy not to quickly end up as an ugly little piece of junk when anything or anyone hits you. The other very important and entertaining gameplay element is the possibility to attack your opponents. You can either spin around or directly attack them to let them do a proper flight right out of the racing track. Spinning around is rather weak and non-precise, but easy to use. The direct attack is a rather professional thing, hard to use and a little dangerous for yourself, but will leave more little ugly pieces of junk on the road. Your main opponent, who's having the highest score besides you, will be marked as your rival, which enables you to aim at your worst enemies, which brings additional excitement and action into these high-speed races. Additionally, for every 5 kills you're gonna get a bonus life. That is a really worthy thing, since in the highest difficulty levels you'll begin with only 1 life, which might pass by quite fast. So it's good that you can increase that number. And I can promise there are quite some tracks where you're gonna die 1,000 times.
Alright, first place!
from a well-planned use of boosts and attacks, there are plenty of obstacles on the tracks, which are bringing the proper amount of spice. There are different kinds of road surfaces. Some are decreasing your energy when you're speeding over them, slowing you down. Some are extremely slippery like ice or doing other things with you and your speeder. Also, there are little bombs on the roads, which are taking some of your energy when being hit, and if you got some real proper bad luck, they will push you over the entire track. But when you hit them the right way, you will accelerate like hell, even more than you would do with several boosts. So that makes quite a number of elements whose appropriate combination is the key to success. But even this is not a replacement for your memory, cause nothing can compensate a proper course memory in this high-speed game. You are not even gonna win a flower pot if you won't keep thinking 3 turns ahead. Now let's count some pixels. The N64 version still had a main problem. I must admit F-Zero X is the only N64 game I know of which gets done in all-time proper frame rate of 50 frames a second. But for this, the graphics were the price, which are goddamn minimalistic. We can be glad that we don't have this problem with the multiplied core power of the GameCube anymore. And so we have an absolutely perfect frame rate and some great graphics to it. The character models are already pretty nice, but the most important stuff of course are speeders and racetracks. The speeders were done very sweet, and the designers were even taking care of some details. Like the machines aren't brand new, they all have visible signs of attrition on the paint. Especially on the edges, where the heavy speed causes the air to rub on the body. When you're building your own speeder, you don't have this attrition effect, since you would think that these machines are brand new made. Very well there. When designing the racetracks, the developers didn't leave anything to chances. It's almost a shame that you can't take a look at the environment when speeding through the courses. Besides the actual design of the tracks, they have added quite some details to the look of them. There is a lot of surrounding environment, and the courses have different themes, like city, forest, lightning, desert, and so on. Not to forget the big blue tracks, where you're probably racing under the water. That is some serious tennis. I actually don't need to blabber around that much. There's a lot of video material here, and so you can see on your own the quality of the tracks. But you anyway can take a more relaxed look at the circuits in the replays, while still enjoying some proper racing action. Normally, replays are boring, and nobody cares to take a look. Here, it is different. The replays are really something mentionable, since the developers did their best here too. There is an automatic camera, which keeps changing the views and angles, while you can also select camera modes, which are either concentrating on track views, speeder views, or the original game view. This way, you get to see some awesome racing movies, since the speed keeps being as heavy no matter where the camera is. It really is something to enjoy. Additionally, you can watch for any speeder in a race and the same replay. You can switch view anytime, so you can take a look for how the bots drive if you want. And seriously, they are freaking jackasses. I really have no idea who was creating what in this game, which contents were made by Nintendo and which ones came from Sega. But I am definitely sure that the sound work must have been Sega's task. Concerning the music, this game is the Corvette under all of the racing games. Sound effects are already perfectly fine, but dude! You just have to get down on your knees and pray to the music of the game. It is very rare that I'm recording so much music out of only one game on my hard drive. Next to the magnificent track themes, every pilot does have his own soundtrack. You can properly listen to it when you are taking a look at the pilot in the pilot profiles. So altogether, this game offers more music than quite some singing games, and this is some hell sweet material. The music, after all, is one of the essential elements which keeps the racing feeling going. The music got a lot of change, and the combination between grade A electronic sound and some major e-guitars just encourages the addiction to speed. An interesting detail is that the music changes to being more tense when every final round of a race has begun. In this game you're always under pressure, but that is some cool pressure. In some ways, this is like the Fast and the Furious to play. In F-Zero GX, you need some sensitiveness in your hands like a surgeon. The more sensitive your left thumb is, the better you'll be. Technically, the controls are perfect, but those are a necessary something for a game where you need to work like a madman on the controller. This is one of these games which you can only properly play with an original Nintendo GameCube controller. Because with a bit of lag and sensitiveness of those third-party controllers, your dream of winning gets out of reach quite easily. The way I was talking about the game, you can guess the final score I'll give it. In optical means, the game is as proper as a 650i. It goes viciously forward and keeps looking great while doing so. You can say about Sega whatever you wish, but they have always been the gods of music in the world of fast games. So the entire sound of this piece of software from start to finish is a major treat, so that I feel obliged to hand over a special point for that. That point is for very special merits. I already said that the gameplay has many great elements which make you want to keep going and going, and when a game just doesn't let me go until I almost fall asleep in front of the damn console, this can only mean ultimate score. So what is it on balance? That F-Zero GX is rocking your motherfucking house, or apartment, or wherever the hell you used to live. It is a must-have for fans of racing games. Haters of those games better go watch for something else, and everybody in between who's looking for a heavy challenge or some grueling training on the controller should look for getting the game. You don't pay much for such old games today, so there is not much of a risk to take. Even today, I would pay the full price for this heavy shit, but oh pleasure, I gladly own it already.
Retime.
Oh, fuck!